You can keep talking. I don't care. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Road Dog Coffee Podcast with your guest, the man, the myth, a legend in his own mind, Spencer Squire, CEO, founder of Road Dog Coffee, and yours truly, Pedro Potato. We are here on our final episode supporting cancer survivors and bringing some awareness to cancer here for October. So we have got a fantastic crew of guests here, and we're just going to get right into it. So sit back, let's roll this cool little intro video, and we'll see you here in a minute.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Man, you sound so good, Spencer. Sound all professional and shit.
You made me sound so good. You told me what to do, you know. So
I'm glad you got it fixed, man.
I'm glad I got it fixed too. Next time you recommend something, make sure the shit works with Apple.
Hey, I don't have Apple, bro, so it doesn't ever cross my mind.
That's right.
I am all Apple Mac, Spencer. I got your back.
Good, good. Yeah, I've got tired of the PC world. So, you know, the security that Apple has on their products is, I mean, second to none. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal stuff. So we like to start off the morning on the show and kind of find out what everybody's drinking. Pedro, what are you drinking, sir?
Man, I am in absolute coffee heaven right now, because my all-time favorite coffee is out at our local grocery store, H-E-B, and it is called Christmas in a Cup. And bro, I'm telling you, I will hoard this stuff. As soon as they start putting more out, I will hoard it. This is the best coffee I've ever had in my life, hands down. I don't know what it is. It's absolutely amazing. So
Christmas blend.
Yeah, it's called Christmas in a Cup. I'll send you a picture of the bag, dude. It is something else, man. Something else. So yeah, that's
just take some pine cones and squeeze it in your black dog, and you'll have Christmas in a cup.
I like that. We'll have to give that a try. We'll have to I'll brew my coffee over a pine cone.
That's right, Bobby. What are you drinking, dear?
Highways Heroes medium roast.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Showcasing the veterans.
That's right.
Rochelle, are you enjoying coffee, or you moved on to something else?
Oh man, I don't want to be kicked off the show, but I actually don't drink coffee.
Cut her feed.
Yeah. I know. It's hard to believe, but I don't. So I'm drinking water this morning. I don't know. It might turn to tequila real fast, but for now it's water. So
at least you're drinking something that coincides with coffee, because you got to have water for coffee, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So Nick, what about you, my man?
Right now, we are drinking some chock full of nuts that I just brewed a few minutes ago.
Oh yeah,
and that was what my dad used to drink, and that's how I came up with that one. But I also added a bunch of cinnamon to the grounds before I brewed it.
Yeah, I've never tried that coffee. I've got a friend of mine that him and his now ex-wife, but they were big on that chock full of nuts coffee.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things that you just, I don't know. My dad drank it when I was a kid. I started drinking coffee, and that's what I started getting. So
yeah,
but I'll be honest, I drank a lot of coffee. It's hard for me to find coffee I don't like. And somebody actually met that challenge the other day, but but it's rare. It's rare that it's just a coffee I can't drink.
Right. Yeah, I'm drinking a little bit of Long Haul right now, but I mean, I like to experiment with other brands too. I know that I probably shouldn't say that because I own a coffee company, but I do. I mean,
is that not how you learn though?
Yeah, I just about to say, right? Yeah, like inspires you, brother. Like, this is good, man. Maybe I should find a way to implement something like this into my line.
Yeah. It's just like the folks over at Pepsi drink Coke, and people at Coke drink Pepsi, I'm sure.
And Nick, I'm with you.
Super Bowl commercials.
I'm with Nick on the cinnamon. I will do cinnamon occasionally too. I will.
I like tossing cinnamon in a lot of things that I can anyway, just because it's good. But, in coffee, it's good. Also, the only other thing I'll really add to my coffee is MCT oil and ghee butter.
Oh, yeah. MCT oil is really good stuff.
Make sure you measure it if you're starting out.
Yeah. I drink my coffee black. I can't stand anything in my coffee. I mean, if you go to like to Italy, espresso shots, they'll put like the brown, clumps of sugar in it, and a lemon squeeze. But I don't know. I'm just black coffee, just pour it and drink it.
I'll have the MCT oil and ghee butter in the first cup, and then it's just nothing else after that. But I used to be a cream and 2 sugar guy until I got diabetes. And then when I started making cutting certain things out of my diet, I was like, well, I don't need this in here. And then I was like, I actually like black coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you've never drank it that way, you got to get used to it. But once you get used to it, I mean, it's just there to stay. But
I will drink good coffee black, but if I'm somewhere and the coffee is just either
like
really
gas station
weak,
coffee, I need to dress up a little bit.
really weak, and
I'll
water.
say
Put stuff in it.
So last year, when I was at the Veteran Radio Summit in DC, we were there for the Reads Across America. Senator Patrick Murphy was one of the guest speakers, and we were doing the Housing Heroes because it was our we have launched it in December to showcase our veteran truck drivers, and so he was up front doing his spiel, and he said, I don't know. He said, normally I'm a sugar and cream kind of guy, but he said, this Highways and Heroes stuff, I don't know what's in it, but you don't need cream and sugar. He said, this stuff, so he grabbed like 3 bags of it on his way out the door. And it depends on the coffee you're drinking, the notes.
Now,
if it's just black burnt beans,
I'll out myself. I have not yet had this coffee, but we are adding it to the list.
Yeah.
Because I do like to taste variety. And I do like to just try new things. It's like back when I was drinking, it's like, who doesn't want to try a good new local microbrew, right? Like you got to know what else is out there. And,
Yes.
Well, do you get whole bean or ground?
Mostly ground because I'm lazy, but we do have a grinder and sometimes whole bean. And I admit we do use K-cups a lot too, but I'd rather brew a lot.
So if you like a smooth, like really smooth coffees, Black Dog is Pedro's favorite. It's the high caffeine ultra dark roast, but it's very smooth for an ultra dark roast. There's no bitter, burnt, ashy taste to it.
Good.
If you really want to taste some good notes, we've got the House of Heroes is a phenomenal coffee. It's a Ethiopian Yirgacheffe and a Mexican Chiapas blend. So you got a lot of caramel and nutty notes there. And my favorite coffee in our lineup is probably the Women Truckers coffee, the light roast, because coffee was meant to be drunk in its natural floral fruity state, not over roasted or burnt. And I don't know, the Women Truckers coffee, it's got great caffeine because it's it's light roast, right? So but the notes in it are phenomenal. So I would encourage you to try that coffee too.
When you said on the Black Dog one, and you said the very first ingredient, you said high caffeine, and I was like, oh, you had me at high caffeine. So
it's good. I mean, it really is. It's good. I mean, I would get it. We've got it in the K cups too. And if you go to the website, Pedro's got the code Scary Bowl 25, get 25% off the bag coffee or the rims. So we don't call them K cups, we call them rims. Because tires on rims and rims around, and they're in 18 count boxes because
I like it.
Yeah, everything's trucking centric. But anyway, yeah. So we are closing out this month for our Cancer Awareness Month, and we've got some great guests on here. We have Bobby McGee, the infamous Bobby McGee, and we've got Nick and Rochelle, and all of them have been touched by cancer, either directly or indirectly. And I know Bobby's got another commitment. So, she's got a story to tell. Her husband, which I've known for a little while now, phenomenal guy, over the road driver. So and he's a cancer survivor actually. And, she's obviously the wife and a great support system for him. And they're two of the most amazing people you will ever meet. So if you ever see them at a truck show, you need to go up and have a conversation. They're phenomenal people. So Bobby,
But make sure you've got like 2 hours because Bobby's going to talk your freaking.
I wasn't going to go there,
I
but
love
you
you,
did
Bobby.
it. Yeah, I wasn't going there, but you did it. So Bobby,
Where's that
you know
mute button?
whose butt
Is
to
there
kick
a
now.
mute button?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Good
tell us about what it's like to be the wife of a phenomenal highway hero and have gone through that whole cancer rigmarole.
Sure. So you know that Steve started his trucking career in 1978, and he's been on the road for a long time, over 40 years. And he's not the kind of guy to take care of himself. Back in the day, it was no DOT on here, I guess. The multiple logbooks and then a lot of running and all the things. And going to the doctor just wasn't really a priority. And if you got sick, you pulled into a truck stop and you just went through it with some NyQuil and, went back out on the road. And as he got a little older, our doctor got a little more stern with him about, look, if you're planning to have these grandkids in your life for long, you better start taking care of yourself. And she had asked him to have a physical. So he went, finally had a physical after everybody was on him. And he had a blood test called a PSA test, just a simple blood test. They do it whenever they do all of your other blood work, guys. And it had a number. And a PSA is technically supposed to be 0, or it's supposed to be pretty low. And his was elevated. So the doctor said, I'm going to send you to a urologist. I want him to do more blood work. So he did the blood work and he said, hey, I won't call you if nothing's up. If everything's good, if I call you, we need to talk. So about 2 days later, his phone rang. He was driving in the truck, pulled off, answered the phone. He was like, something's up, huh? He was like, yeah. He's like, your PSA is 14 and it should be 0 or at least maybe a 1. And he said, I'm going to need you to come in. We're going to look you over and maybe do some biopsies. And he called me and said, I've got to go to the doctor. I've got to have some tests. He didn't really tell me at that point what was going on. So he went to the doctor and had the biopsies by himself. And all 14 biopsies were cancer. All of them.
Wow.
So he had to tell me at that point in time what was going on. And I was, like you might expect, I freaked out at first. And then I was like, okay, we know what we got. We know what to fight. It's going to be okay. Let's take a deep breath. So we went to the doctor together and he sat with us in this little conference room, the room. And he told us what was going on and told us that Steve was going to have surgery. Gave us a lot of different options about the kind of surgery because the surgery was affecting, or the cancer was affecting his bladder and his prostate. So we were both kind of, we're glad we got this early, but it's a very, very aggressive form of cancer. They can tell by the strain of cancer, and his was the kind that moves quickly and grows fast. And we had to be on it quickly. So it was within not even a month. It was probably 2.5 weeks. He was having surgery. And we chose Da Vinci robotic surgery for him, which is a nerve-saving surgery. And it's amazing. I mean, it's like playing a computer game. The doctor did a fantastic job. And it gives a fella the most normal lifestyle he can have after such surgery. And Steve went through it. He went great through it. It was really scary for us at that point because he is a free bleeder. And he had a lot of problems with healing and bleeding and things like that. And, it took a while. It was a little touch and go there. And then I felt kind of like he was having a test of whether or not this was going to affect him more. Because every 3 weeks, then every 6 weeks, he would have to go in and have more blood work. And they were looking. And I was like, okay, every time he would go, I would just hold my breath because I felt like they might find it again. They might find it again. Mm-hmm. And then we got to year 1 and they were looking every 6 months. And I would still hold my breath and just be, just praying. And then we got to the 2-year mark and they're like, okay, we only need to see you once a year. Well, then I was like, okay, maybe we should see him more often, because what if it comes back and they wait a whole year and then they find it and it's too late? I mean, then I was really nervous about it being a year every time, it was ridiculous. And then finally now, thank goodness, he's rolled around the bend and he's hit year 10. And it's like, okay, every time he goes, I'm thankful, because I lost my own father when I was 22. And he had pancreatic cancer and he had absolutely no symptoms. The only thing was he was sick in his stomach. So my dad thought that he had food poisoning, and he went to the doctor and he's like, I've just got this flu or this food poisoning. I just can't shake it. I'm just sick all the time. I'm throwing up. And that's the only symptom, and they started doing all this blood work. And just like with Steve, they were like, your blood work's really not normal. We're going to have to do some scans. And they did some scans, and we found out on Father's Day that my dad had terminal pancreatic cancer, and it had already moved his liver into his lung at that point. And he didn't know. They gave him 6 months, and he died 6 months to the day. Sure did.
Jeez.
And we went from a normal family to a big crisis in just one day. We had no idea. So cancer is a beast. It comes at you from a lot of different angles. It can affect the young and the old. It can be a death sentence, or it can be an opportunity to change your life. You don't really know with cancer. And that's the big mystery. And that's why I really respect people like Rochelle and like Nick. Because you are a warrior when you're going through that. It is a battle. It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. And it's, I mean, like you said, I mean, it could, there's no symptoms and it's a progressive cancer and it just kind of shows up and there it is. And sometimes when it shows up, it's too late and you kind of, last week we had Polly Trotter from Bennett Family Companies on, and we were just kind of talking about the, when you go into, remission, you don't, there's no signs of it, but you kind of live, I'm not gonna say live in fear, but you're always wondering sometimes in the back of your mind, is it going to show back up? Did they get it? And that's, I mean, I would hate to experience that. I mean, I thank God that I've not had anything like that. I've had a lot of family members that have had cancer and passed away from it. But so far, nothing on my end. But I just can't imagine, being someone affected directly by it like that. Well, like, with Steve and Rochelle and Nick and other people out there that's actually had it. Couldn't imagine it,
From the trucking aspect too, he had to take, a little bit of time off work. And when he went back to work, he was still healing. And his body was a little different. And he had to treat himself better. And what it has done is it makes him more attuned to himself now. And he will go to doctor's appointments. He does take his medicine. He does listen to them. Whereas before, he really didn't. And this was kind of his wake-up call, I think. Because, I'm a little younger than him and he wants to be around for me, and we have awesome little grandkids and he wants to be around for them. And he's got goals still that he wants to achieve. And he was like, maybe I need to take better care of myself. So, yeah. But I'm with you, Spencer. It does affect pretty much everyone. I don't know anyone personally whose family hasn't been affected by it in some way. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real thing, and it's just like we were talking last week on the show. You've got to be proactive. Don't never take your health for granted, because guess what? Something's going to come out of the your blind spot and smack you across the face. So it's if you suspect something or something just doesn't seem right, go get checked out. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't take your health for granted.
Funny story for you, and Pedro, you'll like this. When Steve had first went back to work, this is a true story, y'all. He was driving down the highway, in the big truck, and he decided, I got to go. I got to go right now. And there's not a lot of waiting. When you've had that surgery, it's affected your bladder, it's affected your prostate. You got to go. So he pulled off, and it was near a ramp, and had his flashers on, jumped out of the truck real quick, was doing this thing on the side of the road real quick, and a DOT car pulled up behind him. And the guy walked up there and he was like, "What are you doing? You can't park here. You're hazmat. It's illegal to park on a ramp, blah, 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 blah." And Steve was like, "Man, I'm sorry. It was an emergency. I just had surgery." And the guy was like, "Yeah, you can't park." I mean, he wouldn't listen. He was going on and on and on. So Steve said, "I just kind of shut down. I knew that I was going to get a ticket and he wasn't going to listen to me. He didn't care what was going on. This was just a bad day. And the guy was having an attitude, just you might hit 10 cops and they'd be cool and he could explain and they would just be like, be safe. But no, he was upset. So he gave him a ticket. And Steve told the guy, I just had cancer surgery. When he had got back up in the cab of his truck, he was sitting there and the guy was standing next to him. And he said, I just had cancer surgery. And he said, I had a pearl snap button up like this pearl snap. And he said, I just pulled the pearl snaps apart and showed him my scars. And they were new, you could tell. And the guy's eyes got big and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "You really did have that." He was like, "Yeah, I really did. I had no choice. I had to stop. I mean, I told you that." And he was like, "Well, it's too late, man." He's like, "I've already wrote it up. It's in the system. There's nothing I can do about it. Here's a phone number you can call and maybe they can help you out with it." And the guy, jumped down and left. And Steve actually went to court to try to fight it. And he brought his medical information and everything. He was ready to talk to him, thought he might have a chance. Went in, the judge was like, "Is it true that you're a hazmat driver?" He was like, "Yes, I was pulling a tanker that day." And he was like, "Is it true that you're parked on the ramp?" He's like, "Yes, it was." He's like, "Okay, well then the ticket is true. You need to pay the ticket." And that was the end of it. He wasn't even allowed to even give an explanation or speak or anything. And he had went back to that state to try to fight it. But I mean, yeah. So there's your little truck driving story. They didn't have a lot of empathy for his first 2 weeks back on the job. So
you'll read it in the email I sent you last night on those question answers. So when I started my career in trucking, when I started Allstate Express back in 1996, I actually started out as a medical courier company before it became a trucking company. I was actually accepted into the Highway Patrol in North Carolina. And because I've always been fascinated. I grew up in a military home and always been fascinated with law enforcement and everything. So I've always said that, and my favorite show as a kid growing up was the Andy Griffith Show, which still is today. I just can't. I could watch it every day.
Same.
But I've always believed that as a law enforcement officer, that you got to have a level of common sense as well, and humanity. And I'm, and the majority of them out there do. I will tell you that. But you've got a few out there. But if everybody, I've always said that if a lot of law enforcement folks would take the approach of Andy Griffith and just use some common sense, humility, and be sympathetic to a situation. Make a decision on a situation. It'd be amazing out there. But that's unfortunate that he had to go through that and still pay the ticket. That's just stupid.
Yeah. He said next time if I have something like that happen, I'll just mail it in, pay it. I'm not even going to drive back over there. I'm not going to try to fight it. I'm not taking a day or two off because, then here he is midweek and he's having to go out in the middle of the week. His week's all messed up. He didn't get to come home that weekend. I mean, it was just a bummer. But, I get it. Those guys hear every kind of story imaginable, and there's no telling what that cop has been told. So, and Steve was legitimately, suffering and trying to tell him. But I mean, I get it. I do. It was just unfortunate that it happened to him.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. Yeah, they hear everything under the sun. There's no doubt about that. Because I used to ride with law enforcement over in High Point, North Carolina. And trust me, they're told everything. You wouldn't believe the stories that are told to an officer. So they have a level of skepticism, and they have to, because they're it's kind of over time it just kind of morphs into that. But but when it gets in front of the judge and you've got proof of, the situation and why that event happened like it happened,
Yes.
come on, really?
Yeah.
Come
I see
on.
Steve's in the chat. He said it's a true and expensive story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Well, yeah. But, he got past it and he's still an amazing human being. So,
Yeah.
hey, he
I
he
hope
got
that
over
we're
that.
not experiencing that anymore in the future, but
Yeah.
it's just waiting for the tests are traumatic. And I am sure that Rochelle and Nick can tell you that the medical process is not fast, and they will
Right.
often tell you what you do not have,
Mhm.
not what you do. So it's okay.
Right.
We've tested you. You don't have this. You don't have that. You don't have this. This is clear. This is clear. And the whole time you're thinking, okay, what's left in my body that I could have this in, or what, or
Right.
what's the next test? It's very stressful and it's expensive, and psychologically it takes a toll.
It does. It
And
does.
it doesn't matter how tough you are when you're sitting in that little room with the doctor. You feel like you have no control, and you're at the mercy of this person who knows a little more than you, but I mean, they don't always have all the answers, and
Right.
it can be very trying. Really
Yeah,
can.
it can be, and Rochelle and Nick have got they've been through the ring or two with it. And Rochelle, I mean, you've got, you told me this morning that you went through a pretty traumatic experience with breast cancer.
Yeah, I did. And before I jump into that, I just want to recognize you, Bobby, as the caretaker, because that is such a significant role in all of this, right? I mean, and I often think of my own husband who just jumped in and took care of our family in the way that he needed to in those moments. And I know for you all, just the fear that exists also, but in those moments, not showing it and being the strong ones. So, thank you for your story also, because it's so important and it plays such a major role. But yeah, I was 36 years old, probably in the best shape of my life. Had really honed into exercise and working out and eating healthy in 2020. That was a really pivotal year for me, like for so many people. I was actually on a clinical trial for endometriosis, which is another condition that I had been diagnosed with early on, very painful. And in January of 2021, I think it is, I found a lump in my breast. And so went to my gynecologist, told her that I was concerned. She referred me for a mammogram. And at that point, they also did an ultrasound and told me it was just dense breast tissue. It was nothing to worry about. You were good. You're fine. And so turned 36 that year. And of course, that's not the age technically to get a mammogram. So didn't think much of it beyond that. And then fast forward to December of that year, I was finishing that clinical trial. And my last follow-up appointment with my gyno, I came and I said to her, the lump feels a little different. It hurts a little bit in the shower. I can feel it a little more prominently. And she confirmed that it had changed. It felt different. It felt larger. And she referred me to a breast surgeon at that point for a biopsy. January 7th of that following year, 2022, I went to the breast surgeon. She did a biopsy right there in the office. And I knew in that moment, she said to me, this was a Friday afternoon. She said, I'm going to call you tomorrow, even though it's Saturday, because you are an emergency. And so I kind of knew in that moment, like, this is really not good. And I physically kind of started to respond. I got to my car and was by myself. And so crying and shaking. And I am a girl of faith through and through. And I heard the Holy Spirit whisper to me in that moment that I've been preparing you for this. And so I knew that no matter what happened, I was armed and ready to go into battle. But that's not to say it wasn't hard. It's still hard. I think, with what Bobby said, it's thankfully for me in my situation, I did go through chemo. I had a lumpectomy. I had a mastectomy. I've gone through lots of reconstruction. But the physicality of it was never the hardest part for me. It's been the mental battlefield. And even now, I'm only 3.5 years out from my diagnosis, and still, I have to be very intentional with my thoughts and my thinking every day. But it's a mindset, it's really kind of how you approach it. And I do believe, I think I told you earlier, like, I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but I do think that there's purpose in everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, I think the purpose of this is to share my story, and it forced me into a healing that I needed to be in.
Right.
I didn't want to do it, and I was often on the back burner because I have 2 younger children. But it forced me into a healing and gave me a new opportunity to just live life differently. So, it's weird. It's weird to come out on the other side of that with some positivity, but it's the only way I know how to do it.
Well, you're here. I mean, hey, could have went to another direction, and you're here,
Yeah.
right? So that's definitely something to be positive about and pumped up, over. But yeah, it's a mind thing. It's like I said, it just kind of, when it shows up, it's like, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
And you gotta, first you got to accept that it's there and get over that mountain, and then you've got to figure out a way. Okay, going forward, what are you going to do about it? So,
Yeah.
I told you earlier, my grandmother had breast cancer, had it removed, and this was like way back. This was like years and years ago, before medicine was what it was today, and the options out there. But it's a nasty thing, and I know Nick. He's got the American Cancer Society banner behind him. He's Nick's been through a whole bunch of stuff, right, Nick?
It's funny that you say that, because as I'm sitting here listening, I feel like I'm sitting at the kiddies table.
Mm-hmm.
And I often feel that way in my experience. And I think that's one of the things that I find both comforting, and at the same time encouraging, because I think it sucks to feel like you're the only person who's ever had to go through something. It's not a good feeling. And to feel like you have the worst of it too. I imagine that would be terrible. And so oftentimes when I'm talking to other survivors, my road wasn't remotely what we just discussed. The emotional and psychological part, absolutely. The waiting is absolutely the hardest part. When you're waiting for tests, there's no other worst thing in the world, because nobody gives a crap about your timetable. And the people that you talk to, they're just pressing the button, delivering the news, doing the thing. They're going through their tasks. It's not their fault that the humanity gets lost in the process. And for me, that was the hardest part. It was this just drastic unknown. In my book, I talk about my second diagnosis and how I actually fired my surgeon 24 hours before surgery.
Hey, Nick, real quick, tell everybody the name of your book.
The first book is called Through the Fire, which is my story of the 4-time cancer survivor, type 1 diabetic, and recovering alcoholic who became an obstacle course racer and defied it all. And part of the way that we defy it is we have to decide what's important to us. And for me, that's why my story is a little bit different too. I don't talk about the medical part. I don't even remember most of the medical part. I didn't pay attention to the medical part. The way that I had to manage my illness, and the way that I manage a lot of my illnesses and things, is by deciding what I allow them to take from me. And so when I was being mistreated by a surgeon and a doctor and their whole office, and they had literally, like, they were screw it, whatever. Some of the tests showed something wrong on an EKG or something. And so then they wouldn't tell me anything. They were considering pushing surgery, but they wouldn't give me answers. And this was my second time. I'm like 25 years old. All right. I have no support system for this. I'm like, I'm supposed to be getting married in a month, going on a honeymoon. I just got promoted at work. And I'm like, am I going to die? Can I get some information here? Will somebody tell me what's going on? And so I just lost my mind. And I said, you know what? Better idea. You're fired. They're like, huh? I go, you're fired. You don't hear that often, right? I'm going to come get my medical records. They were like, well, it takes 4 to 6 weeks. I'm like, you're going to better call the cops, because I'm not leaving there without them. And I drove up there and they had them ready for me. I honest to God expected to go to jail that day, because the day-to-day part, hearing about your husband and having to go to work, and the thing about cancer is life goes on. The bills are still due, the rent is still due, the responsibilities are still there. It doesn't matter if you're sick, thinking about it, scared about it. And for me, I've long since known, even at 4 times, I will get it again. It's not that I'm scared about it. I expect it. It's mathematically probable that I will get cancer again in my lifetime. My mindset and attitude towards it is, and I'm going to beat it too. I've already made a mock-up of my book cover where I scratch out 4 time and call it 5 time.
That's an awesome attitude, Nick.
Yeah, it is.
That's a warrior spirit right there.
And real quick, Nick, move to your right just a little bit. Men wear pink. You need to change that to real men wear pink, right? I think that's really cool, man. Your story and you're writing a book like that, and kudos to you for that.
The honest about the hardest part for me wasn't the unknown. It was this.
Yeah.
It was when I would go to Moffitt Cancer Center to go get my treatment or follow-up or whatever, and I wouldn't look anyone in the eye. I wouldn't take my sunglasses off. I ripped the medical ID band off the moment they put it on me. Mm-hmm. And I told myself for such a long time, it's because I just didn't want to feel like a patient. But this is what I've learned. It's not that. It's survivor's guilt. Because I'm leaving. I'm walking out of there. And I can't say that for the next person necessarily. And that was hard for me for a long time. And it was and I didn't know how to say that. I was embarrassed about it. Like, why is there something wrong with being alive? And I think part of it is because I didn't know what to do with it. And that's really where 2 things happened in my life. And one of them was, as Pedro mentioned before the show, I Sharpie F cancer across my chest. And the first time I did that, it was because a couple of my friends were diagnosed, one with breast cancer, one with recurrence of testicular cancer. And they were in that waiting period. And I wanted to help them, and I didn't know how. And so I was like, you know what? And I just wrote it on my chest that morning. And I went out to the Spartan race. And I was kind of worried because this is a family event. And literally, I'm standing in the start corral about ready to go. And this guy and his little kid walk up to me. And I'm like, uh-oh, here it goes. He thanked me and told me how he had just lost his mom to breast cancer. That whole day, people fist bumped me, high-fived me, and ever since then, they tell me about their stories or their loved ones. It gives them a chance to talk about them, people that have passed. It's crazy. I'll be in the barbed wire crawl of an intense race. Like, I can't even breathe. And some dude's telling me the story next to him. I had no idea just that how you can help people and the different ways, just letting them know that they're not alone. And like, it's almost, I'm not the beacon, it's the cause, And so the thing that got me into Men Wear Pink is I was actually fortunate to be able to give a speech at the American Cancer Society and fundraising event a couple of years ago. And so then my contact over there calls me up. I've been a speaker now for 2 years, which means I'm broke. so she calls me up and she asked me if I wanted to be an ambassador for Men Wear Pink. And I told her what most people probably think. I'm just not sure I have the time. But what happened next, I got a phone call from somebody I'd grown up with. And they told me, and I just posted about this morning on LinkedIn. They told me the story that you don't ever want to hear, which is they were diagnosed and they were terminal. And I'd known this person 30 years. And I'm like, why the hell am I still alive?
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I can't help them, but that doesn't mean I can't help anyone. And so I called my contact back and was like, sign me up. Some things are too important. And it gave me a purpose and a mission. And it's before, if I wasn't a speaker and I didn't write a book, I would never talk about cancer. And now with this other connection, it gives me a chance to punch back and to help others. And so for that, we talked about, I think it was Rochelle had mentioned it. I'm so grateful to have gotten cancer. I have helped more people than I've ever suffered. And so bring it.
Well, like Rochelle said earlier, she's a woman of faith. And I think that, God uses people in certain ways, and he can put events in your life that you may not understand why, but, there's a reason for everything. And I like your attitude, what you said about, you're gonna walk out of there and you're not gonna lay down and take it. And it's just like Rochelle, and Steve, Bobby's husband. They didn't lay down and take it. They had the, so many people I think will get it and just lay down and die.
Mhm.
And but no, you can't do that. I mean, you've got something that, you got to fight for life. My best friend's mother had cancer. It ended up taking her life, but she fought, lived longer than she was supposed to live. My grandmother lived probably, I don't know, I think it was like over 2 years from what she was, diagnosed with, and then told, hey, you're going to, pass in X amount of time. And, it was like 2 years later because she chose to fight. She chose to fight. And she did her research too. She did a lot of like natural medicines and things like that I think contributed to her extension in life. But you got to fight. You cannot lay down and take it. And you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting to stay alive for your family and your friends. They don't want you to go anywhere.
Right.
So you gotta fight it out. You gotta really fight it out all the way to the last day. Just fight and have that attitude. I'm not going to lay down and take it. I'm going to walk out of here.
I understand what Nick said though, because after Steve's journey, and my first best friend, of course, was my cousin, my cousin Janice. And a lot of times you grow up in a big family, your first best friends will be your relatives, your cousins. And she and I went through school together, went through high school together. We were best friends. And she was diagnosed 2 years ago with stage 3 cancer. And she didn't survive it. And she passed away before the age of 50. And it was very hard for me to understand why we were so much alike. We looked a lot alike. We grew up together, ate the same foods, lived in the same area. Why she got that and why it took her life. And I went with urging a family and had the DNA testing done. My insurance company paid for it because there was so many people in my family that's been affected. And of course, me losing my dad to pancreatic cancer. And I don't know if you know this, but the pancreatic cancer in men is directly related gene-wise to breast cancer in women. So when they test you for this gene, these genes, the DNA testing, it can kind of bridge that gap because my father had the pancreatic cancer. They were trying to see if I carried those same DNA markers that would allow for something like that. And they check these alleles in your blood, like how many of them and which one of them have, this genome or whatever. It's very complicated. And I had none of them. Absolutely. Every one of them came back 0.
That's
and
awesome.
Which gave me a bigger dose of guilt because I thought, I don't even genetically carry it. How did I lose my dad from this? And I've had all these people in my family, and then I lose my cousin. And, it's like, how do I not even, and I just had to quit going down that road because I reminded myself it's not a get out of jail free card. It doesn't mean I'm never going to have cancer. It just means I don't have a predisposition to have breast cancer,
Right.
And there are women that are doing this test now and they get very bad news. And they're, I'm sure you've heard of this, Rochelle. They're taking a preemptive strike and they're having voluntary surgery to prevent getting it, to keep from losing their life from it because they've lost a sister or a mother or a grandmother or all. And that was some choices that Steve and I had to sit down and discuss when I had this DNA testing, pending the results, kind of where are we going to go with this? What are we going to do? What do we think? And it was scary. It was really scary. And I was thankful for what I was told, but I was also hurt because I didn't understand why in the same family, one person gets it and carries it and the other person doesn't.
Right.
It
kind of skips around like that.
It does.
It's interesting.
I get the guilt though, Nick. I get it.
1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in their life. I think it's 1 in 2 men will get cancer in their life.
And that right there is something that interests me because, you know, I've never even really heard about a man getting breast cancer, but it's a real thing.
Yes.
No, when I said just now, just to clarify, that's 1 in 2 men will get cancer,
Yeah.
and 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer. So I
Right.
don't know what the total whatever. And since I've had it 4 times, maybe I've saved 3 guys. So we'll say it that way. But it's yeah, I mean, those numbers are staggering, and
Mhm.
it's men can get breast cancer. I don't remember the statistic; it is small, but I have had the displeasure of a mammogram. I had a small benign tumor that was actually in my chest.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do a biopsy, and I'm like, dude, I can pinch it. Just take it out. I'm like, we're not testing it. You're going to remove it like that. And it turned out to be benign, but still, when they were testing it, had that displeasure of a mammogram. So sorry, ladies.
No, I mean,
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it whenever
I
you're
wouldn't want
supposed
to go through that. And I know that
Had mine last
Michelle
week.
definitely had to go through that a lot.
Amen.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's something that's just, it's a nasty thing. Cancer, just whatever form it shows up in, it's a nasty thing. And, you know, I just, you know, feel for everybody that's on here that's had to go through it, you know, and you know, directly, indirectly, whatever, you're still affected by it. But you know, Rochelle had a you know, a great outlook on it. You know, she stayed positive, got through it, and now she's blessed with being friends with a good friend of mine, Mr. Steve Talamo. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know. But,
Yes, thank you to Steve for connecting me here. And this is
Yeah.
the second time he's connected me to be able to share my story. But
Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing. You know, I was a survivor long before I ever had breast cancer. I have experienced a lot of trauma in my life. And so being a victim was just not an option for me. And so it's all about mindset. I think, you know, we say in our house, Monday is a mindset. Monday is going to come no matter what, right? And we can dread it and we can worry about it, or we can just face it and take it and make it the best it can be. And I remember having to shift my mindset. I would pull up at my doctor's office shortly after my diagnosis, and my body would physically, I had like a visceral reaction. I would feel sick. I would be shaking. I would physically just be a mess because I kept thinking this is the place that diagnosed me. When I shifted my mindset into this is the place that actually saved my life, gave me the diagnosis that saved me. Wow, my outlook, my body didn't respond anymore. So, you know, Monday is a mindset, and you know, we just do the best we can with what we've got and what we've been given, and
Right.
I'm just thankful. I'm grateful, and any chance I have to spread awareness or talk about, you know, offer hope and encouragement to anybody and everybody is just I'm grateful for it. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're blessed to have you, and I hope everybody that's listening and, you know, got something out of it. I'm sure they did. And you know, it's just, but you know, hey, I mean, just go get checked out. Like I said earlier, if you suspect something, go get checked out. Don't take it for granted. But I know we've got to end the show here in a couple of minutes. I know Pedro's got to go pee. He's been drinking coffee all morning, so he's just so quiet. Look at him. He's just so quiet.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here just dealing with fake stuff, broski. That's all.
If I could share one more thought for you that kind of segues a little bit off of Rochelle, something, because I also have a story outside of cancer. However, when I was going through it, I wasn't like this. I had to go through it to get like this. And what I did learn is this, because I had a scare earlier this year that I didn't really talk about, but I received a positive Cologuard test, which is a positive test for colon cancer. The thing is I did research and found out that there's a whole lot of false positives with that test. But still, I literally had a friend who had been diagnosed a month before and was going through chemo and was told like terrible things. And of course, so that's something that's traumatically scary. And it goes back to what we talked about with Bobby earlier. Like if I had to go through that, who's paying the rent? So I had a lot to be worried about. Death was like the least of my concerns. But as somebody who's got 11 years of sobriety, I have been practicing one day at a time living and applying it to every aspect of my life, my business, everything financially. And so literally it was like, okay, well, the actual colonoscopies can be in 3 weeks. So apparently they weren't that worried about the time frame, right? And I'm like, okay, what can I do about it today? Nothing. Go to work. What do I need to worry about this today? My worry isn't going to fix it. It's not going to solve the potential problems I might have. And because I also got to experience that, right? Worrying for years about all those things that never happened. So sometimes we just got to look in the day and say, what do I have to do about it today? And if the answer is nothing, live your life. It might. That's what we got. Live your best life as long as you can.
Is there a place where people can get a hold of your book and read it?
On Amazon or DM me if we want a signed copy. But paperback, hardcover, and Kindle is on Amazon. And if anyone's interested in a signed copy, they may contact me.
Yeah. And Bobby, I know you've got to get out of here.
Yeah, I wish I could
your story
stay.
about Steve and Rochelle. You've been amazing. I'm truly blessed that Steve hooked us up, and love to have you back on again. Talking about whatever, because a lot of times, we'll just have mindless banter and just whatever goes, right? It's caffeine, trucking, and everything else. So there's no, just whatever we feel like chatting about a lot of times, but everybody, great stories. And I'm going to go start with Bobby, the Rochelle, to Nick. If you got any kind of closing quick statement to tell, the audience, it's your time. So Bobby, go.
Take care of yourself. Be your own ambassador. Stand up for yourself. Ask questions. When you go to the doctor, take somebody with you. If you think you're going to be emotional and you're not going to remember, let that person be your ears.
Awesome. And Rochelle.
Oh man, I'm always bad at this. I think I would just pull off Nick. Like, we have to live, right? We can't wallow in the worry or the stress. And I say that, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of intentionality and intentional work to work through this. But be as preventative as you can. If there is something questionable, go to the doctor, have it looked at. And if you ever feel dismissed, fire your doctor like Nick did, right? Like, we have to take charge of our lives, and nobody has better control over you than you. And so,
right.
You know your body best. And when something just doesn't feel right, you got to pursue that. So in the moment, it feels hard and who wants to get a mammogram? But in the long run, it's very much worth it. So,
yeah. Amen.
I'm just going to say it differently. Ladies, get your mammograms. Men over 40, go poop in a bucket. And in the meantime, live your absolute best life, because I'll tell you what, cancer is not the only thing that might take us today.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, it's that is true. That is true. We could all get hit by a bus, or just live life every day that it could be your last. Be responsible with it, but still, hey, don't take for granted. Health is definitely something that you've got to cherish every day, every single day. Cherish life and your health and everybody around you. So with that, Mr. Pedro, I cherish you. I love you, brother.
You said that, bro, and that song just popped into my head. I will cherish you.
Oh man, I love show, brother. We can't go there. That's for another time.
I love you too, man, and I love everyone on screen here. Rochelle, I don't know you, but very well, but human to human, I love you. I think we could all use more of that and say that more, even to strangers. You know what I mean? Just tell people you love them, man. You're glad that they're here on earth, and thank you for sharing your story, Rochelle and Bobby. I knew a little about Steven's stuff, but thank you also for putting his info out there. Steven, if you did not sign a release form, let us know, and we'll help you sue your wife. Nick, whatever, dude. You're not important anymore to me. I mean, no. Nick, you know, I love you, my brother. You're my man, one of my greatest friends right now, man. So, and I say you right now because it took this long for me to get a friend like you in my life, brother. So,
Appreciate you, brother.
yeah, man. You know, I appreciate you, dude. Shoot, we never leave each other alone. I swear, you're one of. We talk so much, bro, on my phone. Like you're one of my favorites and my most frequented calls, dude. So you go to text.
People say social media is not real.
Yeah. Do you want to text Nick again?
Yeah, I feel your pain, Nick. Actually. So.
Yeah. Well, Spencer, I only accidentally bother you, man. I keep meaning to talk to this other Spencer guy I know, and he's probably like, man, I haven't heard from Pedro in a while. It's because I keep texting the wrong Spencer.
That's right. There's only one of me.
Thank God for that. I mean,
that's
shoot,
right.
did I say that out loud?
For that. Sure, a whole lot of other people will concur with that too, but that's okay. It's okay.
Oh man. Well, man, this is a really good show, man. It's a really great, great show to end our awareness month here. Longest show so far, so great deal. Once we knew it was going to go a little bit with 3 people on here sharing their story, and once again, we just appreciate you 3 for being here with us. We appreciate everyone watching, and remember, until Sunday at midnight, correct, Spencer? For the special.
So Sunday at midnight, the code that you're seeing scroll across the screen, Scary Bold 25 for 25% off Black Dog K-Cups / rims or the bag coffee. So go get it while you can. Take advantage of that 25% off. Sign up for subscriptions or the emails. Stay in touch with us. Stay in the loop for podcast information to anything new coming out. And we are going to change the format. Well, we're going to kind of change it up next week. So next Thursday morning at 9:00 in the morning, we will not be on here. We will be traveling to the Stars, Stripes, and White Lines truck show in Atlanta. And that's next weekend. So we're going to be doing the show live from that truck show next Saturday morning around 9:00, I guess, Pedro, correct? We're gonna do it then. Yeah, that's kind of the plan.
9 o'clock Eastern. Yes.
So if you're at the show, and I encourage everybody to go to the show, it's great. It's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have our coffee tent there. We're actually gonna be having the official launch of Road Dog Cigar Company. So we're gonna have cigars there that are phenomenal, true premium cigars, and we've got 3 different blends. We'll have some stuff, lighters, cutters, merchandise there for you to grab too if you're a cigar guy or a cigar lady. And nothing pairs better than with a cigar than coffee. So anyway, come check us out. And if you, like I said, if you're at the show, stop by, say hello, have a conversation, just kind of come and chill with us. And then we'll be back on track the next week. But everybody go to roaddogcoffee.com and grab some coffee. It's on Amazon. And be watching for Smoking the Bandit. I'm actually going to release that at the truck show. We're going to have it on the site soon for pre-sale. So be watching. Smokey and the Bandit. The real Smokey and the Bandit. Dark roast. So anyway, great show. Hate to end it, but I know people have jobs and work to do, and come back for more, guys. And thank you for supporting the Road Dog Coffee podcast. And you 3 amazing people, stay healthy, and
Thanks for having
keep
us.
sharing your story.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, Pedro, let's roll it.
We're going to be out of here. Everyone have a great rest of your Thursday, great rest of your week, and a wonderful weekend when you get to it. We will see y'all next Saturday live from Echo Park Motor Speedway. That's a mouthful. In Atlanta. Have a good one, everybody.
Well,
Thanks, guys.